915 Talk is a production of Desert Voice Media. You can visit desertvoice.media to learn more.
915 TALK.
The world is looking at El Paso.
What will we say to the world? From the KELP studio in El Paso, this is 915 Talk.
And now your host.
Good afternoon, beautiful citizens of the borderland. This is 915 Talk, and I'm your host, Andy Frecka. And today we have Kenny on the board with us. Kenny on the board, how you doing today?
What's up? What's up? I'm doing good.
Yeah, so I recently asked you a question, Kenny on the board.
Recently? You went on vacation.
Yeah, well.
It's been over a week.
Yeah, don't tell everyone that. We pre-recorded all those programs. We don't want anyone to know that.
I didn't say anything about pre-recording.
Yeah, I did just fly in from Puerto Rico. I was a chaperone for a senior trip, and everyone made it back to El Paso. So that was a major success in my life. But the question I asked you most recently, Kenny, on the board was this. How much can you bench press? And you didn't give me a good answer.
Well, I said I lifted the back end of a car once when I was a teenager. Of course, it was a Volkswagen.
It was a Volkswagen. It wasn't actually a real car. Gotcha. But I have a different question.
A toy car, yeah.
But I have a different question for you today.
Okay.
Let's say you had to run hurdles, 400 meters.
Uh-huh.
What would your time be?
Depended on how quick the Uber got there.
Oh, well, we have Mac Daddy Del Norte. He's running our YouTube Live 915 Talk is our YouTube channel. You can watch the radio these days. That's the miracle of modern technology.
That's right.
Mac Daddy Del Norte, what is your time for the 400-meter hurdles?
Oh, 0.
It'd be quicker if you put a snack bar or something in front of them.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, so we have a very special guest today. Do you know why he's special, Kenny, on the board?
Because he's a unique expression of an endlessly creative God.
That is true. He is the unique expression of an endlessly creative God.
Two times in a row, I got it right.
Yeah, that's right. But he's very athletic. He's very athletic, just like us in our dreams.
Yes.
But he's a true son of the borderland. He went to Faith Christian Academy when that was a thing.
Nice.
Long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago. Long time ago. And he was kind of like the cheat code for that team. And he was a 6-man football standout. He then went on to do the 400-meter hurdles at Texas A&M.
Actually, the highs, the 110s.
The 110s, the high hurdles.
Wow.
I did some 400 in high school. And some,
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was 110-meter hurdles.
Yep.
And they were high.
Well, they're higher than the 400. That's why they call them the high hurdles.
Oh, gotcha.
So that's that energy.
Now I'm starting to understand. So that really cuts down on our time because it's 110 meters, not 400. So we should do better, guys.
As long as you get to the finish line, I think at that point, I think it works. There's a lot of obstacles in the way.
Yeah, for sure.
No matter how many weeks it takes for us to get there.
Come on, Kenny, on the board. You know what Paul wrote Timothy? Physical training is of some value.
Right, that's why I walk.
Yes, okay. That's good. That's good. So then he came back to El Paso after Texas A&M. He's now the owner of a gym called Elev8.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's Elev8 Gym. It's over on Rojas here on the east side of El Paso. And today we're going to be talking about running a business in El Paso. We're going to be talking about the borderland. We're going to be talking about 6-man football and, of course, fitness. So without further ado, wherever you are, maybe you're listening to 1590 AM up in Oro Grande on your way up to Cloudcroft for the weekend. Maybe you're listening to 89.3 FM out in Hatch, New Mexico, or 95.9 FM somewhere in central El Paso. But wherever you are, let's give a very warm borderland welcome to the one, the only, Mr. Marc Duchene.
What an intro, man. All right.
Yeah. Mark, welcome to 915 Talk.
Thank you very much. Thank you. What an intro.
Yeah.
Well, that was interesting.
Well, what our listeners don't know is that you showed up in a Lucha Libre outfit and there was smoke going and lasers, and I had to make
everywhere I go. I am my crew. Yeah, they're sitting back there.
Right. So my good friend, Pastor Steve Castrita, it was your teammate at Faith Christian Academy.
That's right.
And he was the very first guest I ever had on 915 Talk.
Get out of here, really?
Yeah, and I asked him, I said, were you like the cheat code for the team? Because he went on and he played for the Texas Longhorns. And he said, no, that wasn't me. That was this other guy. So here we are, about over a year later, and I finally have the cheat code.
Wow.
For the Faith Christian Academy six-man football.
Yeah, not a big deal at all. I'm sorry to say that doesn't go very far.
I think we need to. I think we need to get you to flex a little bit, because he told me you had over 300 yards in one game.
I mean, it's six-man football, man. There's just a lot of space to run. So there's a lot of scoring in six-man. It's basically, if people don't realize, it's 80 yards long.
Right.
And it's about the same distance, maybe a little bit. It's about 40 yards wide.
Right.
You had 6 guys on the field, and so there's a ton of space, a ton of scoring. And, gosh, I hadn't talked six-man football in forever. Slightly embarrassing, but there's a lot of room to score, and that was the only. I went to a small school. I went to Faith Christian, and that's what we did. So hey, I'm playing.
Well, that's cool. But my youngest son plays six-man football.
Okay.
In El Paso for
Emmanuel. Yeah, that's right. They still play.
Yeah.
They still play six-man.
It's still a thing. It's and he has never yet rushed for 300 yards. So what would be your word of advice for him if he wants to rush for 300 yards in a six-man football game?
I'll run away from the guys that are trying to tackle. As fast as you can. Yeah, that's about it.
Right. So you went on to Texas A&M, and
I did.
And you did the high hurdles.
110.
The 110 meters. We established that in the intro.
That's right.
That was
that's right.
Distance.
Definitely not football. That's for sure. No, I mean I think I was lucky to be able to be in a sport or participate in a sport that had a time domain. Right. Like you couldn't lie any time. I mean, you play six-man football. Who's going to pick you up? I mean, actually, I had a little bit of. I had some opportunity to play in a smaller Division I basketball team at Texas Pan Am, but I chose. I knew that wasn't going to be the school I wanted to go to as far as education. I didn't think I was going to be any kind of professional athlete. I mean, all this intro, builds me up like I might be, but there was definitely no. And believe me, once I got to A&M, I knew there's God made some people different.
Right. I mean, that was probably quite a shock going from Faith Christian Academy in El Paso to Division I.
Division I track
competition.
And field. Yeah. I tell this story all the time. People ask me about what's the difference between college athletics and high school, and I can remember being on. We get there early, so we do a lot of like conditioning, and there's longer runs, and then once we got into the track, the time came. I was on the infield doing some drills, speed drills or whatever, and I just remember my back probably about 10 yards away from the track, and just hearing, I swear it sounded like horses, just, and I look back, and I'm like, what was that? And it was the sprinters just doing like wind sprints.
Oh wow!
And so immediately, just from the sound of it, you knew you were in a different world. It was just the power that you can just feel and the hearing it. And I was a freshman going, okay,
sure,
time to wake up. Yeah, you're in a different playing field for sure.
Right. I mean, the level of competition. So what was your best time ever for 110 meter hurdles?
My best time was 14.2. So
wow.
Yeah, I mean it was decent. I had trouble getting used to the higher height in college. I mean. So that was my best time.
Okay.
It was decent enough in high school. I was decent. I think I was the second fastest in the region.
Wow.
In Las Cruces, El Paso, on a high school kid.
Right.
But once I got to A&M, that was okay. That wasn't any kind of Big 12 because we were in the Big 12 at that point.
Okay.
So I ran 98 to 2001.
Okay. Yeah, and for Kenny on the board and Mac Daddy Del Norte, you say 14.2 for the 110 meter. That's not 14 minutes. That's 14.2 seconds.
That's right.
Yeah.
I could pass out quicker than that.
Yeah. So, that's very cool. And I think for a lot of people or young people, I was just on a senior trip, as I said at the intro to the program. A lot of young people, as they grow up in El Paso, if they're doing college elsewhere, they're thinking, well, of course, about the rest of their life, and they're thinking, well, maybe the rest of my life won't be El Paso. And after Texas A&M, you came back to El Paso.
Actually, I didn't.
Okay,
I
so
didn't.
tell me about that.
And I was one of those. I'm out of here. You know what I
Okay.
mean? I'm out. I'm getting out of here. I'm leaving. Well, you know, I'm never looking back.
Right.
Kind of a thought process. But so I actually was somewhat smart, I guess. I ended up graduating with an engineering degree.
Oh, wow.
At A&M, and I was like logisticals, industrial distribution, and I left, and I ended up working for DHL, which is the international carrier.
Right.
I was a project analyst, so I did a lot of traveling. Perfect job for a guy out of college.
Yeah, very cool.
A lot of traveling. I was traveling to different import-export locations, big ones like Miami, New York.
Okay.
Phoenix was their IT location. Cincinnati, which was, God, get me out of there. But and
Hey, I'm from Ohio.
I know, man. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Apologies. No, but Cincinnati is more of, what is it? Well, it was actually Erlanger, Kentucky, kind of north. But anyway, I did some project work for them, and then DHL was kind of purchased by a larger domestic company, Airborne Express, because they wanted to. Well, actually, the parent company that owned DHL purchased Airborne Express because they wanted to increase their market share domestically in the U.S. And so they ended up adding on their infrastructure, or kind of making their infrastructure DHL. So my job got eliminated at that point. And so I ended up working for a company based out of Montreal.
Wow.
And then I ended up going into sales. So I always had a knack for that. I guess the personality, and I had an interest for that matter, and ended up going into sales and worked for a company based out of Montreal. So I got to really travel a lot, and became like a national rep for them, and moved to Phoenix.
Okay.
So I was in Chicago for about 5 years after, and then I moved to Phoenix and was a sales manager out there. And then what brought me back to El Paso was some buddies of mine were starting a creative agency. And a creative agency. It still exists. It's called Ghostlight Creative.
Okay.
Shout out Ray Sanchez.
All right.
Josh Webb. And it still exists. It's still doing really well. But I was the sales arm of that company and moved to El Paso to kind of help start that and have that opportunity to kind of be an entrepreneur and be my own boss, and took that opportunity in 2009. Beginning of very tail end of 2008. So
Okay, so that's interesting. A business opportunity brought you back to El Paso,
and
because that's not normally the story.
Yeah, you're right. But I mean, I think there's so much opportunity here for anybody looking to really build a business in El Paso.
Why do you say that?
I think that there's, just like you said, there's a ton of opportunity, a ton of people here. Right. And I think it's unfortunately a lot of times people with great ideas, people who are very talented, people who have the ability to do great things, end up leaving because they think that there's maybe not the opportunity here. I think it's gotten better since, for sure. But I think El Paso is attracting better people. Not even better people, people who are motivated to be entrepreneurs, to take chances. And I think El Paso is one of those cities, and you always hear it, right? We're a small town kind of feel.
Yeah.
And it's true, but you can really kind of see the fruits of your labor here in El Paso as opposed to a big city. You have access to so many more people. I mean, I've shook the mayor's hand. City manager. I've talked on the phone with the city. And if I was in Dallas, Austin, would I ever get a chance to do that? I'm not sure. I don't know.
Right.
But somebody here could, I think, if you're willing to.
Right. Well, on this program, we've talked with many people, city leaders, about the need to create jobs. I think the job market can be rough in El Paso. But what I hear you saying is
create your own.
Create your own. Exactly. And there is that opportunity here.
I agree.
And so what got you into the gym business or fitness after being in the creative space?
Yeah, I was such an amazing six-man athlete. I had to continue that. No,
after your Faith Academy six-man football legacy.
I mean, obviously,
you had people begging you.
Please come back. Please come back and show us. No, not at all. So I always stayed in that kind of mindset, right, of staying fit all the way, even after college. And I know for a lot of college athletes that doesn't happen too often. They get burnt out. But I did stay in that opportunity. So when I got back here, I was actually doing CrossFit at the time in 2008, and that before really anybody had heard about it. Yeah. That was before the big boom, and now kind of the lull in it. But I was doing that, and I found a place here out in El Paso to do it.
Right.
Because I was doing it out in Phoenix.
Yeah.
And there was only one spot, and so I started doing that, and essentially, like, as I did that, one of the owners had asked me if he wanted to open up a location on the east side, and asked if I could help coach it. Mm-hmm. I said, sure, I don't mind. I was single. I had time, and why not?
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it, so I did that on my off time. Long story short, I understood marketing. I understood the coaching side of it, and I asked him, hey, if we want to bring this and make it bigger, I'd like some skin in the game. Can I buy in? He allowed that. And, a few years later, I bought him out.
Right.
It continued. I quit the job at Ghostlight, and we stopped that and kind of focused full time on the gym, and it grew and it grew. And, always had an idea of what we wanted the gym space to be, and kind of the idea of having kind of something for everybody. So we didn't want to stay and put all our eggs in one basket of like just the group fitness style. Uh-huh. So and it's grown since. And we started in 2009, and now it's 2025. So we just had our quinceañera.
Yeah,
we did. We rented a hall and everything. Yeah, I had my chambelan
and you bought yourself a super expensive dress and
the whole thing. Well, I was like, well, Dad, did you? All that money you saved up. Yeah, no. Yeah, exactly. So it's been a blessing. It really has.
Okay, well, I want to jump more into CrossFit, into Elev8, all of that. First, we're going to take a break. If you just joined with us, we're with Marc Duchene. He's the owner of the Elev8 Gym. Yeah, here in El Paso. Mm-hmm. We're going to continue talking about fitness. We're going to be talking about athletics, business in El Paso, all of those things. Before we go into the break, this is your daily reminder that 915 Talk is a production of Desert Voice Media and is listener supported. And if you believe these daily conversations about our borderland community are important, you can become a part of the journey. Just visit desertvoice.media. That is the website, desertvoice.media. And I have a new challenge for you as the listener. If you're listening to this and really enjoying it, I would love it if you told one friend about 915 Talk. And I know some of you are listening in podcast format. Some of you are watching on YouTube. Some of you are listening on the radio. However you listen or watch, tell your friend about that, and we would really appreciate that, and it really helps us with the journey that we're on here. We're going to go into a break. Do not touch that dial.
We'll be right back. Don't touch that dial.
915 Talk is listener supported and is a production of Desert Voice Media. That's right. It's people just like you who make this program possible. Together with Desert Voice, you can learn how to better serve our neighbors and pray for our community. To become a Desert Voice Media partner, you can visit desertvoice.media. That's right. That's the website, desertvoice.media. Take a look and join us today in reaching our borderland for Christ.
915.
Testify.
I used to be a very angry person at the world, being young, having kids, having a wife, being a father, just meeting those expectations that the world puts on you. It's not about the world, it's about, your relationship with God. And I didn't realize that until I was older, and because I was living a life that I shouldn't have been living a sinful life, living for the flesh instead of living for God. I was hanging around people I probably shouldn't have hung around with, drinking, going out to parties and coming home like 2, 3 in the morning. There was one day that I completely broke down. My son was asking me like, Dad, how come you're like this? How come you're always mad? And yeah, that day I did end up bringing out my Bible. I just broke down and started crying, because I felt the way Paul felt. Read your Bible, guys. If you don't know what to read, go into Proverbs, go into Psalms. God, He's protected me in so many different ways. He's the reason why I'm here. I'm trying trying to help other people reach God, He could truly change your life. My name is Miguel Ipave. I'm from El Paso, and if Jesus did this for me, I know He could definitely do it for you.
And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb.
And by the word of their testimony.
KELPradio.com.
We invite you to tune in on Saturdays at 5 p.m. for Preaching Jesus and Developing Lives with Pastor Matthew Mitchell and the elders of Park Hills Christian Church, 5701 Alabama, El Paso. This Saturday, we'll hear Pastor Matthew Mitchell. So join us Saturday at 5 p.m. for Preaching Jesus and Developing Lives.
We're back. You're listening to 915 Talk.
We are back, and you are listening to 915 Talk. And if you just joined us, we were with Marc Duchene of Elev8, the Elev8 Gym, and we were talking before the break just what Elev8 is, starting to talk about that. But you mentioned CrossFit, and if you go on the Elev8 Gym website, that's the main thing I saw about Elev8 Gym.
Did you?
Yeah.
Is it? Okay.
CrossFit. So,
Interesting.
So I
That,
know
that shouldn't be there.
Okay.
That shouldn't read that way, but that's very interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you well, first of all, I like saying what I think something is, and then my guest correcting me. And I know Elev8 is not about CrossFit or all about CrossFit right now.
Right. There's definitely an aspect of it for
Right,
sure.
but I want to say what I think CrossFit is. It's where you just don't get a break.
I think that's what most people think it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just killing yourself on a daily basis, right? Yeah, they're a little.
So what would your
masochist.
brief explanation of what CrossFit is, or why it's important, or how it's different from
It's a
other
modality of
forms
fitness.
Okay.
You know, a lot of people explain it as the one be all do all of fitness. I don't think that way. I think that it is a modality of fitness. It's high intensity functional movement.
Okay.
But at the same time, there are some times where you slow that down, and
Okay.
you really concentrate on movement itself,
Yeah.
on the strength side of it, and then it's more of like it's a community. For the best part about it is the community of it, and so if you're that type of person who loves to kind of push and loves the workout to really kind of kick your butt, you're gonna love that. But at the same time, if you're the type of person who you don't want to know what to do, you don't want to think about what to do in the gym. You want kind of a built-in motivation to come every day, or accountability.
Right.
You want that built into it, and that's
Yeah.
what that provides, because everybody kind of really, you get to see each other on a daily basis. People get to know each other. They'll ask you, "Hey, where were you yesterday?" You know, so you have that built-in accountability,
Right.
and it's performed based on your level of fitness. So, especially at our spot, there's the beginner side, and then we've been open so long, we've been an affiliate for so long that we have somebody who started yesterday, and in the same class as somebody who's been doing it for, let's say, 15 years.
Right.
So, but it's all scalable based off of your fitness level. So most people think that I can't do it until I'm fit, and I think that's kind of crazy. Like, you know, you can't play basketball till I know. Yeah, no, you can. You know, you're not going to be doing what LeBron's doing,
Right.
but you can still play.
Well,
You know what I mean?
LeBron's on a break now,
Poor
so we
guy.
can all be doing with
Poor
LeBron.
guy. Yeah, I have some friends who are very mad about that. I'm not so mad about it, but yeah, they I had to console some guys yesterday.
Right. So
Or 2 days ago.
you mentioned the word motivation. So I know a guy. I have a friend. He's like in his late 40s. He works at a radio station. He has a program every afternoon at 4:00.
Yeah, I wonder who.
Yeah. And this friend of mine.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, he's done all kinds of fitness things in the past. He would swim for a while. He ran a couple marathons, ice marathons in Siberia, but sometimes he struggles with motivation.
Yeah.
How would you motivate my friend?
I think that this is the question, right?
Right.
This is the question on fitness, on almost anything, right? And I think it's the why. I mean, you have to find and understand the why you want to do it. I think self-motivation of I should,
Right.
because I need to, because I want to.
Right.
It's very fleeting.
Yeah.
Right? And so it lasts for a certain amount of time, and then it's out.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I used to do a lot more coaching. So I've coached on the group side of things, CrossFit to world-class CrossFitters to, beginners for a long time and very highly competitive Olympic lifters. But and I've coached on the strength and conditioning side some professional athletes.
Right.
But now it's more focused on the business. So now my focus is a lot more on the business. But that question does come up all the time, and about how do I motivate myself? And it's about finding the why and really kind of attaching yourself to, like, is there a reason why you need to? You're the only one who's going to be able to motivate yourself.
Right.
And you have to find a reason why that's going to happen. And for some people, it's an event in their life, right? Or it's a scare at the doctor's office.
Yeah.
Or it's, my kids, I try to run with my kids and I can't even do anything, right? And, or like say for instance, like my parents are like, hey, I need to stay in shape because I got to keep up with your kids.
Right.
I need to do something because if I'm feeling this. And so there has to be like a reason why. So usually what you have to do is if you don't have that kind of built in, you have to create it. You have to manufacture it.
Right.
You have to decide, you know what, I'm going to do a Tough Mudder, or I'm going to sign up for the half marathon.
Right.
Sign up for it.
Yeah.
Force it. You paid your money. Now you have a reason why. Yeah. Or I'm going to take pictures at this time of, whenever.
Yeah.
And so you have this kind of like light that at the end of the tunnel that you're looking at, and not just kind of wandering around because you quote unquote should.
Right. Well, I think I saw where I read somewhere, it's like the motivation of like, this is the sensible, healthy thing to do doesn't work.
Never.
But I'll look good in a pair of jeans works.
If you have an event coming up, yes.
Right.
Correct.
And
or
so,
if all of a sudden you're single or things change in your life and you need to look better, then you're going to find that motivation to do it.
Yeah, and I love the idea of sign up for a 5K, sign up for a half marathon, whatever it would be, and then you have to start training for it. That's actually what happened
tell
to me.
People you did.
Yeah, so of course I was joking about my friend. I was talking about myself.
No way.
It was autobiographical.
For real.
Yeah.
No way.
for those who missed that. But I ran an ice marathon in 2014, 26 miles across the lake in Siberia.
That's insane.
And my motivation was the Travel Channel was going to be filming it.
There you go.
Yeah.
And you don't want to look like.
Yeah. I had to, my knee went out halfway through. and they said, you don't have to finish.
Like, went out.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like, you were just hobbling?
I was hobbling. I was basically running on one leg.
Just trying to skate the rest of it.
Well, I had studs in my shoes, but I was like, no way, I'm absolutely going to finish, because there's all these TV cameras, all this stuff happening.
Yeah.
And then I found after that event ended, I struggled with motivation.
Sure.
And so that's interesting, kind of coming up with these little tricks for your brain.
Yeah,
to make it work.
You have to manufacture that sometimes.
Yeah.
And if you get somebody along with you, and that's why I think it's important to work out with others, is
right.
For me especially, like if there's somebody who's counting on you to come or go to the gym or go running or whatever your fitness interests are.
Yeah.
As long as it's motivating you to do something. So pick something also that is motivating. If some people don't want to go to the gym. Some people would rather do Zumba or do Pilates or do running, whatever that is. Just stay active and pick something that motivates you to do it. Yeah.
So Elev8 has does have CrossFit classes.
Yes, because that was my origins, right? So I'm always going to keep that there as long as it makes business sense to do so.
Right.
Because I was very loyal to that. That's what got me started in the fitness industry.
Okay.
But yeah, we've built it to. I mean, we're 24,000 square feet, so we have the ability to have classes, but also a full-fledged, gym. We have an outdoor where we have a basketball court, working outdoors. We have machines out there even, and I mean it's just a full-fledged gym. We have traditional general. Machines and strength machines, cardio equipment, but a little bit of a different feel to it. So, yeah.
Very cool. If you just joined us, we're with Marc Duchene. He's the owner of Elev8 Gym here in El Paso. If you have a question for Marc, you can go to 915 Talk on YouTube and put that in the comment section. We'll get to any of those questions that we can, or you can go to KELP Radio on Facebook, and we have the Facebook Live going there. You can comment there. I see that Renee, he didn't ask a question, but he put a sweaty face emoji. So he's just experiencing some emotion as he's listening to all this.
Hey, that's interaction. That's really cool. I didn't know that you guys had that. That's
So if anyone has any fitness questions or questions for Mark, feel free to send those in. But first, we do have Charlie One on the phone. Charlie One, what are you seeing out on the roads today?
Well, there's a lot of congested traffic here at one spot. I-10 West at Paso. We have a crash blocking the right lane there. But what's going on here is that it's a lot of looky-loos going on, spectator delays in. It's backing up to Geronimo right now, even beyond that, because you got all lanes stacked up right there, just moving at a very slow pace, maybe almost bumper to bumper there because of that crash. I-10 West at Paso. On the other side of the fence, a little bit of a slope right there. I-10 East Reynolds to Paso. That's just, again, spectator delays, just looking at the crash on the westbound side at Paso. Also, Gateway East at Hawkins, their shopping area, you got a crash right there, and the PD's not there yet, but they're going. Gateway East at Hawkins. We have some sluggish, stacked up traffic, I-10 West at Lee Trevino, because they take away that right lane there, plus Gateway West at Lee Trevino with the entrance ramp closed, so traffic that tends to accumulate right there on the gateway at Lee Trevino. And Andy, back to you.
Charlie One, yesterday I was on my way to a prayer event in the evening, and I hit the worst traffic I've ever experienced in El Paso. I was out on I-10 West by Mesa.
Oh, I drove right by that.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah, that was not the place to be yesterday afternoon. because what happened there, Andy, is that at I-10 West, the Thorn beyond Mesa, one of those big machinery construction machines tipped over on its side.
Oh.
So then you've got that tipped over on the side of the freeway, and now you've got very little to go on right there. Those things take up a lot of room, especially they tip over those construction machines. So they're very difficult to upright it because they're so heavy. So what's going on there is backing up traffic. It was backing up to Sunland Park, even beyond that, westbound lanes. I'm sorry you were stuck in that traffic because it was terrible yesterday. They didn't clear that till way much later because hard to upright that machinery there.
Oh, so that's what happened. I should have been checking in for my Charlie One updates. Charlie One, we have a fitness expert in the studio today, and I think he would agree that Menudo is a very good option for lunch any day of the week. So tell our listeners about the Daily Menudo.
Now, the Daily Menudo, they say the Hispanics have a saying, or Mexicans have a saying that says, Menudo is the breakfast of champions. So, that's what they say. So, the Menudo, it's just very, I don't know, it just perks you up, nourishes you, wakes you up if you're asleep. It gives you that energy there if you don't burn your tongue, which that happens with me. I'll burn my tongue there, but it's very delicious going there. But you don't only have that. You have the enchiladas, the gorditas, flautas, and much more there on the menu. If you're on a diet, vegetarian options, Mi Perlita Cafe, 3120 Traywood. And right now, you're okay on the freeway there, Andy, except for I-10 West Paso. Really, it's clogged up right there.
Okay. Well, thank you much, Charlie One. We'll talk soon. And we're back with Marc Duchene, owner of Elev8 Gym here in El Paso. So Elev8 is not just...
group classes, yeah.
Right.
So we do group classes really well.
Okay.
And we have our own style of female-only functional fitness called FemFit, and that has done
I saw
really
that
well.
FemFit.
Yeah, it's our brand.
So it's FEMME.
Yeah.
So it's for females.
Right. A lot of people Femi.
Right.
No, yes,
but it's FemFit. And, so you created that.
We did. Yeah, we branded it out. It was. We knew that there was a market for that. It was a long time ago, and female only, no barbells.
Okay.
Kind of more endurance based, but also there's some strength involved in there. Longer workouts, and we knew that there was a market there, especially in the Hispanic culture.
Okay.
Yeah. And so it's done really well for us. And after that, I think what we knew, what I wanted to do is, I understood customer experience.
Okay.
And I think that's what we were really good at.
Okay.
And what kept us growing and what had kept us in business for so long. And so what I wanted to make sure and do is, or what I wanted to try and do is to bring that to the masses, is that understanding of customer experience, and be able to offer large-scale gym style with a slightly different mindset, motivation, community. Have kind of top-of-the-line equipment, but work out in an environment that's motivating, and an environment that you can basically do any kind of style training that you want. Somewhere I wanted to work out at the time. So we will continue talking about Elev8 Gym, but we just did get a question on the KELP Radio Facebook page, and the question is this: did we already talk about what an amazing football star Marc was? Jesus. Six-man football star. Let's not get that any kind of wrong there.
I feel we can continue talking about that.
Let's talk about, okay, so six-man football. So I played receiver, running back, safety, and kicker. And
all
punter.
in one play.
Yeah. That kind of tells you, you know?
Yeah. You were a utility player.
The guy, we had a good team. We had some really good athletes, honestly, that could have probably played at some of the other high schools. But we did all right.
No, that's great. Well, I feel like we could continue talking about your experience at Faith Academy six-man football, but instead we'll continue to talk about Elev8. You it seems like you do. Or you do have a focus on community. You have childcare.
Yeah, of course. I think that's
do
important.
all gyms have that?
Not all, but I think it's important to have. I mean, most of your big gyms do.
Okay.
Most of your big gyms, that's a normal thing. I mean, you want to be able to cater to moms and their kind of time crunch.
Right.
So to be able to take your BFFs to up and be taken care of while you find time to work out, because that's tough.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It is a community. You'll find people just kind of talking and saying hi, and we don't have any TVs in there.
Okay.
On purpose. I didn't want to put any TV. It's more of like, hey, get what you're doing, get it done, and move on, as opposed to just sitting there and watching something on TV and moving along.
Right. So you said you wanted to be a gym that you would want to work out
Yeah,
at.
absolutely.
So what makes it different from other gyms?
I mean, we have a lot of kind of open areas to where, and you're not pigeonholed on, these are and if you're a gym goer, this kind of makes sense, where these are the cable machines, these are the plate loaded machines, this is this area, this is that area. Well, we kind of mainly set it out by body part, and then we have a really big long strip of turf right in the middle of the big gym, so that you can do kind of circuit training. So you maybe get on a single leg hack squat or something like that, or single leg like power squat, and then do some box jumps or do some sled pushes or something like that, run right after each other.
Right.
And so you're not pigeonholed by, I got to go over here to where the cable machines are. And so we have a lot of specialty equipment.
Okay.
To where it's just very interesting. Slightly maybe different as a gym owner, especially a big gym owner, understanding physiology and understanding gymming, as they call it.
Yeah.
So a lot of the pieces that we pick are what I would pick for myself in terms of like making sure that the mechanics of it is where it should be. So there's interesting stuff. So we even have like elite powerlifting equipment for guys that powerlift, and so it's different.
Right.
Yeah.
So getting back to my friend who's in his mid to late 40s, works at a radio station.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah. He has a little bit of a belly, a little bit more than in the past. What's his workout regime that you would recommend?
That's consistency is for one, right? Like in terms of workout regimen, I think consistency over specificity. Okay. So I would say consistency over that in terms of like just make sure you're coming in. I think on the nutrition side, that's on the workout side. If you don't know what to do, I think you need to incorporate some sort of weight training as well as cardio, and sometimes that can be very intimidating to people who don't understand it. Right. So finding a way to do it, whether it be in a group class setting or a trainer or somebody that I think it's important. It's important for your health physically. It's important for your building some muscle, will help you create a higher metabolism.
Right.
The more muscle you have, the faster your metabolism is.
Right.
believe it or not. So
Yeah.
I think there's this kind of disconnect between what cardio is and what, strength training is. And,
Right.
and I think that's important to understand, that you should do both, especially as you get older. And on the nutrition side, I think it's important just to understand what you're eating. I think that's the first step. Most of us don't even know. So if you were,
Right.
if you were to, there's an AI app that you could just take a picture of your food. You don't have to input all that stuff. Yeah, it's pretty neat. You just take a picture of your food and it tells you how much calories, how much protein. So as long as you're getting quote unquote balanced diet, to where maybe your protein is probably, let's say 30% at minimum of your diet.
Okay.
I would recommend higher, but like just for general. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is my reminder to our listeners that everything we say on this program is for informational purposes only.
Yeah, and I'm no nutritionist.
Yeah,
I've just been doing it for a long time.
We're just two guys talking, and if you need health advice, find a licensed professional. But having said that, do you have trainers? Do they give little pointers as far as diet?
Sure. Yeah,
Okay.
I think finding a trainer that, for one, is you can relate to. And some trainers are better at certain things than others. So, for me, the people we hire, it's people who really want to do this. It's their profession.
Okay.
I'm not interested in just getting as many trainers as we can just to, increase the books or increase membership or increase revenue. I think it's important to work, and I tell people I just want to work with dope people. Right. That's it. People who are very cool and very committed to what they do and their craft. And so that's the kind of people I want to work with. And so if that's you, let's talk. But outside of that, no, I think it's just finding the right person, and they have their thoughts on it, and they do give advice.
Yeah.
We used to have a nutritionist on staff. She just moved. So unfortunately, she's out in Washington, D.C., but
Okay.
yeah.
Well, she took probably what she's doing to Congress, national level. I appreciate that. But if you're just joining us, we're with Marc Duchene. He's the owner of Elev8 Gym here in El Paso.
Yeah.
We're talking CrossFit. We're talking about his illustrious six-man football career at Faith Christian Academy.
Yeah.
No, we don't let anything go in this program.
Sure.
And before we go into break, just a quick shout out to KELP Impact Partner Caring Companions. If you have an elderly relative and you need some assistance around the house with them, caringcompanionsep.com. Really good people over there. I have some friends who use their services. They speak highly of them. Just check it out. You can reach out to them. They'll come by and just check out your situation, give you a quote, and you can see if it's a good fit for you and your family. You might just need to get out of the house for a few hours a week, but that's where Caring Companions can come in. Really good people there. We're going to go into a break. Do not touch that dial.
We'll be right back. Don't touch that dial.
Hey, KLP listeners, this is Pastor Terry Gray of Calvary Chapel Sun City on El Paso's west side. I want to invite you to join me at a new time at 5 p.m. Monday through Friday right here on KELP. If you're driving home at 5 p.m. or doing work around the house or getting your evening started, I invite you to join me as we go through the Bible, chapter by chapter, verse by verse. There is nothing more valuable than the Word of God, so let's invest our time in learning more about it together each day. That's our Bible study program, Summons, each weekday at 5 p.m. right here on KELP.
Hi, El Paso. This is Pastor Pancho Juarez from On the Level here at Calvary Chapel Montebello in California. I hope and I pray that you will tune in and check On the Level. Thank you so much. God bless you, El Paso.
So, hey, make it a point to join us Monday through Friday for On the Level with Pancho Juarez, Monday through Friday at noon.
Are you looking for a Bible teaching church on the west side of El Paso? This is Terry Gray, pastor of Calvary Chapel Sun City and speaker on the Summons broadcast heard each weekday at 5 p.m. here on this station. Calvary Chapel Sun City is located at 960 West Borderland Road on the west side of El Paso. We hold services on Wednesday evenings at 7 and on Sunday mornings at 9 and 11. You can find out more information about us on the web at www.ccsuncity.org. The Lord bless you, my friends.
We invite you to tune in on Sundays at 9:30 in the morning for a program that we've added to our lineup, Living on the Edge with Chip Ingram. Again, that's Living on the Edge with pastor, teacher, and author Chip Ingram, 9:30 Sunday morning. May God bless you through this teaching program here on KELP, your Christian radio station, reaching families, changing lives.
We're back. You're listening to 915 Talk.
We are back, and you're listening to 915 Talk. Again, we're with Marc Duchene. I feel like I shouldn't say this again, but I'm going to anyway. He was a six-man football standout at Faith Christian Academy, but now he's the owner of Elev8 Gym. And during break, we were talking about six-man football. We were talking about my son, who plays six-man football here at Emmanuel in El Paso, and about how my son, you asked if he weight trains, and I just want you to give a little motivation to Benny.
So yeah, that is highly important, I think, in any athletics. And I think regardless of what kind of sport you play, from soccer to, I've had this conversation with soccer coaches and any kind of sport. I think it's very important. I mean, the weight room is the only environment that you can control stress. You can control the stresses of sport, right?
Okay.
So on the field, it's all reactionary.
Right.
In the weight room, it's directed.
Okay.
If you are bad or have instability in a certain aspect of movement, you can address it in the weight room. It's the only way you can direct stress to the body in sports. It's the only controlled manner, right? So what that means, it makes you more durable.
Okay.
It makes you better at stability and being able to transfer energy into when you have to be reactionary. So it's not just about putting size on. It's not just about lifting more. And you can create power in the weight room that's controlled and can transfer over into sports. And so it's too many people think that it's all about, numbers or size or and I think that's the wrong way to think about it. I think it being more functionally durable and functionally explosive and reactionary is the way to go, right? If you have a good coach and can see the way somebody is transferring energy into the ground, you can address that in the weight room.
Okay.
Right? If their foot is hitting the ground at the wrong angle, the wrong way, the stability creates a split second of trying to stabilize before it pushes back into the ground to go the other way. You can address that in the weight room. I was just talking to Chris Campbell, which is shout out UTEP. He's a head strength and conditioning coach over at UTEP, and we were talking about different sports and why it's so important. So
yes. So what I hear you saying is, a good trainer could watch a high school athlete, see where their weaknesses are, and then address them in the
absolutely.
weight room.
Yeah. So even like a buddy of mine over at BIMO Elite Athletics over here, and phenomenal baseball sports specific trainer, and we talk about that all the time. Yeah, there's some testing that you can do, but you can also see it in the weight room on how joints move under load. And you can see some mobility, maybe some mobility issues that you can address. But I think it's extremely important in any sport. It's not going to make you slower. In fact, it's going to make you faster.
Yeah.
I have a buddy of mine who's a Boston marathoner.
Okay.
And he weight trains. And he talked about the endurance aspect of it and being able to finish the race at a much stronger pace because he just felt stronger. Did he weigh a little bit? Maybe 1-2 pounds more? But and that can be a big deal. Yeah, it can be a big deal on a marathoner. But he felt that it gave him a little bit more advantage.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I think for a lot of high schoolers, it's all about how much can you bench press.
Yeah,
rather than improving wherever you're at.
And what really bothers me about this generation is that it's all about what does it look like on video.
Right.
right? Like, what is this person doing? How cool does it look on video?
Yeah,
And can I post this? Yeah, and instead of really kind of the nuts and bolts and the meat and potatoes of what truly strength training is. And
right.
I get a chance to talk to all of the athletic directors in the city because I work a lot with them on the equipment side, and the All-Star Combine side, and we talk about that a lot and how important it is to start early when you're young, middle school, just proprioception wise, just to understand what it feels like to move your body in space correctly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I definitely want to talk about equipment and what you're doing in that space. But before we get into that, let's talk about how you you're running the high school football combine for El Paso.
Yeah.
So what is that, first of all? And secondly, what is it like to break so many hearts?
That's fine. So the Greater El Paso All-Star game, it's been around for, I played in it.
Okay.
Believe it or not.
Yeah.
Even a 6-man guy. Look at him. Yeah. Playing 11-man football. Back in 1998 is when, but it's been around for a long time. So just recently, I've taken the directorship of the combine. And the combine is basically testing the athletes to get them some numbers and to put them under the eyeballs of the scouts, specifically mainly D2, D3 guys that come out here that need football players, and they love El Paso players. But the problem is that El Paso is kind of off the beaten path for a lot of these guys' schedule.
Right.
You know, I can go to Houston and see a lot more athletes.
Yeah.
And so what we've done as an organization is be able to raise money to pay these scouts' ways out here, their hotel, their flight, come and watch these kids run, and so or watch these kids compete. And so my part of it is on the combine side is getting together kind of the best of the city based off of numbers.
Okay.
Yeah, and on their combine tests.
So this is where I make sure I understand what you're saying. Essentially, you're like, I think a lot of people know the NFL combine.
It's the same thing, really. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's for the top football athletes in El Paso.
Right. So we kind of filter it out slightly.
Yeah.
So we take the top guys in each position based off of their numbers.
Yeah, and then you make sure scouts get to El Paso.
And I make sure scouts get there, and then at that time they know the numbers, and then they see them compete in position drills one-on-one. So it's a really cool thing. We had about 50 to 60 scholarships given out last year, and not to say those were the ones that actually took it and finalized and everything, but yeah, it was a very, very rewarding position.
Very cool. We have another comment saying that you're by far the greatest football player I've ever had the privilege of playing with, and the person who wrote this actually played with Vince Young, so that's pretty impressive. And so anyway, this dude was he played for the Longhorns, man. Come on,
I
know, but he says you're the greatest, and you keep on trying to downplay it. But anyway, we only have a few minutes left.
Okay,
I do want to talk about equipment. You're setting up gyms, especially for schools and government organizations.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Over the last 6-7 years, I was able to start an equipment company. Just basically, we design, provide, and install weight rooms across the region.
Yeah,
and mainly do it for school districts, government agencies. I've done some flooring work here and there for different other organizations, but it's a business that it's been really a big blessing that has taken off and has done really well.
Yeah.
And we are a distributor called Elev8 Equipment.
Okay.
And we work and we have contracts with school districts throughout the state.
Wow.
And we provide weight room equipment and build out whole entire weight rooms. And so, with lighting and everything.
You have to design the whole thing.
Design the whole thing and install the whole thing, and from the flooring to the racks and the weights and the custom weights and custom barbells to the lighting that kind of showcases it.
Yeah, no, that's super cool. What do you think about churches putting in weight rooms?
phenomenal. I think anybody putting in a weight room is a good idea.
Okay.
Is there churches putting in weight rooms?
I don't know. I mean, maybe we just made that a thing.
Hey, let's talk to them. Yeah. Let's call them up right now. I think what a community service that is, though.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to put in a weight room, and I think that kind of ties into faith in terms of self-discipline, right?
Right.
Being able to be self-disciplined. Talked about the fruits of the Spirit, right? To have determination, right? Patience.
Yeah.
I think that's a big deal. I think that would be a phenomenal idea to reach out to the community and a great opportunity to minister to people in the weight room. That'd be really cool. I mean, shoot. Hey, call me to build them out.
Yeah. Love it. Yeah, so you kind of just touch on this. We only have a couple minutes left. We've talked about your business. We've talked about fitness, your personal athletic journey, the combine, all of these things.
Yeah.
Where does faith come in?
Oh, man. I think faith allows you to be resilient. And I think being a business owner, and if you are not resilient, you ain't going to make it. There's so much things that come and go, and so many hardships and so many ups and downs that come through it. I think faith allows you to be resilient, to put trust in something other than yourself.
Right.
It also allows you to shine and bring what you bring, and you don't have to be a pastor to have somebody recognize, hey, this guy's different.
Yeah.
And you can minister essentially by just being successful in what you do in a very, morally and godly kind of manner.
Right.
Right. Because I think so many business owners can be not that.
Right.
Successful business owners. I think there's a misconception that you have to be just a savage.
Yeah.
And people won't like you, but you're going to be successful.
Right.
And I think there's a difference there. And I think if you do, and you have a foundation of faith, and you can portray that through your craft, I think that is huge.
Okay. I love it. And just this idea that you're someone who's physically strong.
Used to be.
Yeah. but still depending on God, who's greater than us, and not just depending on ourselves. And just this idea that you're sharing, that believing business owners can be a part of transforming our community.
Absolutely.
Love it. Again, today we were with Marc Duchene, owner of Elev8 Gym. You can just go on the internet and just type in Elev8 Gym, and if it has the number 8 and
ELEV number 8, phonetically elevate.
Yeah, you'll find it. Check out their programs. Check out what they're doing. Really appreciate you coming in today, Marc.
Yeah, check out the Instagram. That's kind of where most of the content is.
Excellent. And if your church wants to put in a gym, if you're inspired, you can always give Marc a call.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but again, thanks for coming in, Marc. And as we always say, let's learn to love our city, love our neighbor, and give God all the glory. This has been 915 Talk. You have been listening to 915 Talk, a production of Desert Voice Media. In order to listen to previous editions of 915 Talk, just visit desertvoice.media. Let's learn together to love our city, love our neighbors, and give God all the glory.